Welcome everybody to another episode of Lockdown 23 in 1. Today we're going to be diving into what I consider to be one of the worst prison systems in the country. For a multitude of reasons. Lack of security from the correctional officers, the establishments are ran down, should be demolished. The food is garbage, disciplinary action when it comes down to certain situations is non-existent. The medical help is just through the window. You could make a personal list right now as to what you think would keep a prison safe, and these prisons ain't got none of it. Besides maybe a fence, barbed wire, and some concrete, that's about it. Alabama, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe not all of their prisons are this bad, but a lot of them are. And there's a big change that's about to be coming their way. A big one. We're going to read into that here in a second, but first I'm going to show you some clips coming from inside the Alabama Penitentiary, man. These videos have been going, viral all across all kinds of platforms. There's so many of them. Inmates are showing the reality of what they're living in, and some of these conditions I've already shown on the channel. They're just unreal. Right? But one of the videos I'm going to show you today is the security issues. This is probably one of the major problems with a lot of prisons. They don't have enough correctional officers. Understaffed, they're not getting nothing done, and nobody's being held accountable for anything that's going wrong. Inmate-wise, no consequences behind their actions. And to a lot of inmates, including me at one point, would probably love a prison like that. The minimal security, right? They could do whatever they want for the most part and just chill out. But at the same time, I knew if someone started screaming man down or something like that, then they're gonna come running. Prisons I'm gonna be showing you today, that ain't the case, man. People are dragging people stabbed up to the front of the gate and they're sitting there for hours sometimes. I'm not gonna show you those clips, I'm just breaking down some of the situations. And there's weak individuals all throughout these compounds. What do you think's happening to them? Cheeks being taken and extorted, all kinds of stuff. They don't have nobody to run to for help, even though a lot of people out here look at that as being soft. But in all actuality, man, a lot of people need this help, or else it's going to ruin them for the rest of their lives, mentally and physically. Or they could even end up losing their life, because of the minimal security. So let's go ahead and watch some of these clips, and then I'll break down exactly the massive changes coming to the Alabama prison system. But if this is the kind of content that you're into, all things lockup related, then this is where you want to be. Hit that like, subscribe, notification bell before you leave, and check out my playlist with many more videos for you to start watching today. Alright, so this clip is going to show these guys walking the prison yard with no staff around, nowhere to be seen, and it's close to 9 p.m. at night. When I was in prison, they had nighttime rec call where you could walk the yard. It was summertime, so it got darker sooner, and they would just let us out till about, I'd say, 8 o'clock at the latest. I don't know, I can't really remember, but I believe it was about 8 p.m. Just started getting dark and they would call us in. Sometimes we'd be out a little later if there was a softball game tournament going on, but there was always COs around. This is what I call wide open. Nobody around, nobody to be seen. It looks like guys just got out the shower and decided to walk around in the yard, like a casual park in their backyard or something. It's crazy. So just imagine if someone were to have gotten stabbed or anything when this video is being made. Do you think anybody would have came quickly? No, definitely not.
Another chaotic night, chaotic day, chaotic night. Here at Benches, got no police officers. Here to lock the yard down. Everybody's out here, not a police in sight. At 8:30, 8:40 something, I ain't got you on it.
You're supposed to be locked down at this time.
Yeah, it's in the middle of, it's like almost past count time.
Past count time. And look, you got a massive thunderstorm on its way, man. Get me inside. I don't like lightning, man. I don't do that. But not only are they outside roaming around at this time of night, but keep in mind, he's got his cell phone out. I mean, look, that's something that was unheard of to do in the prisons I was in. Cell phones were like top security. Strictly classified, man. You were not walking around in the open with them puppies. So every time, anytime, it doesn't matter what prison or jail they're in, if they're like in the open pod or in the yard recording like no one's even around and they're at their house, then I know that there is some major security issues in that prison. Not hating on it, you know, some people, like I said, they love it. But I know those weak guys, man, they're having a bad, hard time.
And we ain't got no officers nowhere. We had 2 bad, severe stabbings today. And all the police, the few we had, going to the Free World Hospital. So
We only got 3 officers on compound.
3 officers on the compound. This is absolutely amazing.
Very dangerous.
A dangerous
very
camp.
dangerous.
It's definitely not what we used to when we first came to prison back in the 90s. And just a whole different ball game. Nobody want to be employed here. But Kay Ivey got the bright idea to build new prisons. And who gonna supervise us guys, man? And if you can't supervise us guys, you gotta let us go.
Look over there to your left-hand side, bro. Look, everybody is out wide
everybody's
open
out.
at 8:40 at night when it's supposed to
At
be
nighttime.
locked down, man.
Yeah.
2 stabbings today.
2
It's
bad
very
stabbings in this camp. And if one happened right now, I mean, who's to witness anything or who's to get the person to the healthcare unit? We just every man for itself.
And, you know, one of the clips I seen, someone did get stabbed. And they didn't have no one coming to get him, so they had to put him on the trash dolly and roll him out to wherever, you know, medical was or something, man, running him there. But you hear how he mentioned something about someone building new prisons. Well, that's going to be the major topic of this video. Will new prisons fix these kind of conditions? No, it won't help. I mean, some situations like living conditions, but when it comes down to the security of things, they have to have a fully staffed correctional team that ain't going to be quitting within a week. That's what it is, man, you know? And you also heard what he said, that it wasn't like this for them in the early 90s. And you know, a lot of people say the 90s, late 80s, early 90s was some of the hardest times in prison. Some people consider that to be. So they're making it seem like now is just unheard of kind of conditions compared to back then. You know, so what I'm going to be talking about at the end of this video, and I think I might show one more, actually, before I read this article about a new $1 billion prison coming to Alabama. It's going to house over 4,000 inmates, a super prison. We'll talk about that more here in a second. This one kind of shocks me.
This is what it looked like. DOC shut down. The officers don't want to pick up trash, so it's everywhere. Walking through it.
Cup noodles and ramens everywhere. Never in my lucky stars I ever walk a yard like this, man. This is treacherous.
Inmates don't work.
This is what happened.
Shut down.
We do more than they think we do.
This is what happened. Police won't do nothing.
He said, we do more than you think we do. Probably because there's going to be guys like me saying what I'm about to say, man. Look, the prisons I was in, you would never see this. You know why? Because if the COs ain't picking it up, there's going to be plenty of state-struck inmates to come do the recyclables and everything. Look, I was around inmates. It might have been treacherous when it came down to the structure of things and people getting taken advantage of. But look, there was guys in there that kept everything spotless. Even if it was a filthy, broke down prison, man, they were cleaning everything non-stop. That was like how some people bid. So unless the blocks are completely tore out the frame as well, I mean, just you got to clean up after yourself, man. I mean, there ain't no grizzly bears in prison, man, dumping out these trash cans. How the hell they get like that? Might have been a little mini riot or something taking place, a strong wind, gust of wind, I don't know. But where I came from, there have been plenty of people there to pick and scoop up everything. So that's probably why he said, we do a lot more than you might think. But regardless, you know, also this shows you that there's no staff caring about any of this. Every prison I was in, there ain't no damn CO gonna let anyone trash the yard like that. Any part of the prison. And you know, you could type in Alabama prisons in almost any platform and see nothing but negative stuff pop up. Videos like this. But allow me to read an article for y'all about what I mentioned earlier. The brand new super prison that's coming Alabama's way. billion-dollar supersized prisons are slated to be built across the U.S. Alabama is building a new supersized prison will cost over $1 billion, most expensive incarceration facility in the U.S. history. Sounding a lot like these mega prisons in, what was it, El Salvador, Guatemala, or something like that. I can't remember. It was a couple countries that started doing this, and it seems to be working. You know, and I remember like it was yesterday, someone commenting in one of those videos that the U.S. is next. And here we go. It's cranking up, ain't it? The Alabama Correction Institution Finance Authority late last month approved a final price of $1.08 billion for the 4,000-bed prison now under construction in Elmore County. I don't think y'all understand. 4,000 bed. That is massive. And Alabama isn't the only state moving forward with plans for larger, pricier prisons. Nebraska is building a new $350 million 1,500-bed prison to replace Nebraska's state penitentiary. In Georgia, and this one is pretty mind-blowing to me, officials have been tasked by the Fulton County Board of Commissioners to find the funds for a $1.69 billion facility. That's more money than the most expensive one they're building in Alabama. But this is even crazier. With 4,500 beds to replace the current Fulton County Jail, they're spending $1.69 billion on a jail. Unless I'm reading it wrong. I mean, it's also known to locals by its address, Rice Street, which many advocates say it's beyond repair. It's an obligation that we have, Commissioner Bob Ellis told Atlanta News First. I'm pretty sure that is just their county jail that they're going to be spending the $1.69 billion on, or they're trying to. Unreal, these mega prisons that's about to be coming their way. Not to mention, I heard some talk about possibly something happening in New York as well. Oh, here we go. It says at the same time, plans for additional prison construction projects, including a new jail to replace New York City's notorious Rikers Island, are also beginning to take shape. So, you know, it could start sweeping across the whole country, these mega facilities, man. It has to be updated, you know. It might be a new time and era. I always say error, but it's era. And, you know, they need all the top-notch cameras and buttons to open up cell doors and stuff like that, man. I know a couple places in old Arizona that need that done. But it goes on in the article to speak about what I've already broken down. Is it really going to help anything? And there's plenty of people on there saying, no, it won't. It's all up to the staff. But also, you got to keep in mind that the living arrangements in some of these places, man, you know, they're breathing in all kinds of mold and other stuff. Who knows? People do need to be living in somewhat newer conditions, I guess, compared to some of these other places. I mean, I was in a prison called Powhatan. I believe it's shut down now, but it was worse than Shawshank. The guards weren't as bad, you know, but the living conditions, man, it was treacherous. Warm up next to a little heat pipe, traveling to hot water in your cell. That was the only thing you had to keep warm for real. No AC, and for the window, it didn't have no cover. It was just a little piece of plexiglass that most people ripped off for shanks, right? So it'd just be flapping unless you tie it down. All kinds of shit was falling apart in that prison, man, you know, so I've seen these type of living conditions, and nobody, man, I don't care, you know, well, maybe some people in their dirty, filthy charges deserve to live there, but, you know, the majority of us, man, we should not be housed in conditions like that. So a new prison will fix that situation, and hopefully with the new prison brings new food, maybe chicken on a bone every Sunday. Can we ask for that? Oh, yard bird once a week? Ain't too much to ask for, huh? That keeps the morale up. Either way, it seems like something's being done about Alabama, which I didn't think would be happening, but is there anybody out where they say they were building this place at? Elmer County. Anybody living out there? Is it a massive construction site? I would love to know. And I would love to hear y'all's input on this stuff, so. I know there's a lot of people going to be like, man, 1.69 billion, 1.8 billion, that is insane. Yeah, it really is. A lot of tax dollars. So let me know y'all's input in the comments section. I'd love to hear it. And stay tuned. I will be dropping a time-lapse video within the next day or so. As soon as I finish my next art piece, man, y'all are going to love it. So y'all be on the lookout for that. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, until the next time, y'all be easy, be safe, and stay free. Especially in Alabama.